Hey guys.
Hey, it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a week. We
Yeah,
took
holidays.
Labor Day off. So we're back in the saddle. And we're kind of revisiting an old topic, but with a different lens. We talked about corn before. It was one of our early episodes. We talked about corn, what it is, what some of the stats are. And we say, yeah, you shouldn't do it. So yeah, corn is, graphic images of stuff you shouldn't see with two people, sometimes just one or more than two. Yeah, it's morally wrong. A lot of times it's on video. But what a lot of the stats don't take into consideration is the other kind of corn.
What's this kind of corn?
Oh, just, the book that recently yeah, well, I'll touch on that later. But yeah, some really popular romance. I think they're detailed romance novels out there that the
Well,
ladies like.
romance novels in general, haven't they always included some racy portions?
Think so.
And men don't typically read those.
I was going to say, have any of us ever read even one of them?
Oh, yes, I did read one.
Yep. Never read one over here, so.
No.
And yeah, it had some pretty racy parts in it. That was many years ago.
And so
She wasn't enticing enough for me to read more of it.
Oh, so men and women's brains can kind of act differently, might be aroused differently. Imagine that. Okay.
No, Nick. Yeah. Blank slate equalism is the only way.
Oh, yeah. We're all the same and equal and everything.
Yes.
Whatever. Okay.
All social conditioning, right?
Oh, well, there's probably some of that, but there's different chemicals, there's biology involved, all sorts of stuff. But tonight we're going to talk about is corn. Get rid of the C and put a P. Is corn really the problem? Is corn the relationship problem?
Are we attacking another description?
This is like an exposing a narrative, but also this is like an ETN and so exposing the narrative, which we do on Mondays, and a countercultural sexuality put on one.
Fun.
Yeah. We're exposing this narrative. Is corn really the problem?
Let me say it a little differently. There is a problem. Problem consists of multiple parts. Problem has a source someplace. Is corn the primary source of the problem from which other things stem, which may result in bad things like divorce and whatnot because of the problem?
So,
And
like
if the
dead
problem,
bedroom, divorce, adultery, and ED.
okay, yeah, which came first?
Probably the dead bedroom.
Whoa, that would mean that after the dead bedroom, when let's be honest, a lot of men go use corn, and then it's found out later, then the wife will attribute the husband's corn addiction as the cause and reason that she needs to get divorced, and she's vindicated for any refusal causing the dead bedroom. Is that what you're saying, Nick?
He's just an obsessive pervert. Right? So here's this narrative. I'll share this screen right here. I got to get my zoom doubled. There we go. There you go. It says over 40 million Americans are regular visitors to corn sites. Blah, blah, blah. It's a problem in their home about half the families. It says, look at this one. They say pornography use increases the marital infidelity rate by more than 300%. And here's another one. Combine that with number 6, 50%, 56% of American divorces involve one party having an obsessive interest in pornographic websites.
What's
Oh,
the source of this information?
Mission Frontiers.
So it's generally a Christian source?
Yeah, and it kind of says, look, 68% of church-going men and 50% pastors view it. Also, a lot of women view it too. But another survey says, yeah, the women view it.
Okay,
87%
back to that
view it.
first one.
Yeah.
What percentage of these people have dead bedrooms?
See, that's the underlying. That's what's not addressed.
Have we
Oh,
been able
yeah.
to find any
Interesting.
data? Have we been able to find any data on the dead bedrooms thing?
Not definitively. I mean, you might be able to correlate something with OnlyFans.
No, he said it particularly in the first 8 minutes.
Uh-oh.
That's it for this video, guys.
Is that my
Oh,
monetization's
shoot.
gone?
Your
No, we don't
monetization
get
is
it.
gone.
No, we don't do it.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I looked at, tried to find some statistics or someone mentioning or doing an article on a correlation between sexual refusal, theoretically by the wife, and the husband's use of corn. Or, I didn't look up dead bedroom leading to corn use, but I found no one who would even talk about the issue. But I think most men kind of understand that there's a correlation here. If you talk to some of your friends, close friends, you know that the dead bedrooms are out there. But gee, we can't talk about any causal relationship here. No, cannot do that.
And why
To
is
the
that?
point where they won't even mention it.
Hmm.
Well, okay. Here, this is a bit of a problem in statistics. It's called selection bias. And selection bias says that how you select your target audience, how you word the questions determines kind of what answers you get. Is there a possibility that no one has ever bothered to ask the question, even, does the dead bedroom lead to use of corn as opposed to the other way around? And that gets into this whole thing of, well, surely somebody's had to ask this question. I think every guy out there knows that there's some validity to it.
But no one wants to ask that question. None of the academics want to study this issue. None of the Christians want to study this issue. Because, gee, that would imply passing some share of the blame on women. We don't want to do that.
Accountability is kryptonite.
I mean, look, honestly, sometimes it's the woman that wants it and the man doesn't want to do anything.
Sure.
That happens too.
But is that the normal case? I
No,
don't think so.
no. And there is actual data on that. I just couldn't find it, but because it's
I don't know.
McKinsey.
There are a lot of women out there with high sex drives.
Yeah.
Or at least for part of their lives. So, it could be 25%, even 30%, 35%, where the woman wants it more than the man. I mean, it's a significant number. What is the overall who wants it more, men or women? Well, stereotype says men do, but
That's because of
stereotypes
testosterone.
are often misleading.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're right, though.
So the Aaron Clary wrote about this in his book, but it comes from a study that says men are 9 times, and this is based on testosterone, as Nick said,
Mhm.
men are 9 times more interested in sex. Like they think about it 9 times as often, like that kind of, like it. There is data there, but the other thing you have to remember is that it's a bell curve, guys. This doesn't mean that all women are just sitting there, not thinking about sex ever. Oh no, there's women think about sex all the time. Think about all the hen parties and the British. That's the British term for what we call bachelorette party. Think about all, and they're all going, oh, he's so hot, or just even your wife just catching a hot dude walking by, right? Like they think about it too.
Well,
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna bring
I don't
something up
know.
now.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, here we go. I'm gonna pull something up. This came up on my screen today on my Twitter feed from a guy in the RP space. And he would know.
Oh, this guy would definitely know. If you know who he is, he would definitely know.
Hey guys, ladies,
Wow.
women are not sugar, spice, and everything nice. 50 Shades of Grey sold more copies than Harry Potter.
And this is in 2012. Looking at that
Ooh.
article.
Oh, that's in 2012. Oh man,
See,
who knows?
women also think that men are talking about sex with other men and spilling secrets.
No,
Man,
that's what women do.
That really doesn't happen. You might kind of go there a little bit with a really, really close friend, and then you'll do it in general veiled terms. No specifics, no details. But on the other hand, women talk to other women about some pretty intimate details on a fairly regular basis. But that's my belief. Is there any proof of this? Or is it just something we all know?
Oh,
On this one, I think it has to be something we all just know because
well,
there's no data on it.
well, there's a nice little picture you have there.
Oh, you want me to throw that up?
Yeah, it's kind of on point now.
Oh, this is an old meme. I remember laughing at this way back, probably 15 years ago now. And it says,
Ooh.
for those who are just listening along, Twilight moms, if these were 40-year-old men screaming for 17-year-old girls, someone would call the police.
What?
Oh.
Are they watching Chippendales or what?
No, the
No, this is
Twilight series.
the Twilight series with
Sparkly
Robert
vampire.
Pattinson, who was
Sparkly
17.
vampire.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They
Basically.
just want someone to bite them on the neck. That's all.
That is, yes, actually, just disgusting as that is. Yes, that there is. That would be a domination fantasy, as the Sterling Cooper meme from before. All right, I'll take this away now.
Just looking at all the comments.
Yeah, we can't put that one up on screen. Sorry, Leroy.
Oh man, where was I?
Hey, Leroy, you got Nick pretty good there.
Oh shoot. So yeah, we're talking about yeah, sugars. They're not sugar, spice, and everything nice. Also, maybe why? So that they have corn issues, maybe just not in the same sense, and men have corn issues. But who's the one who usually doesn't get any?
Well, it's always men you hear complaining about it.
Mm-hmm. That's of course because of the testosterone, higher levels.
Yeah.
But what does a dead bedroom also tend to indicate as well?
It indicates that she has disgust or contempt for him, or at
Mm,
least doesn't give a shit at all.
yeah, I mean, the Bible says
That's
to
my
render to each
experience.
other. Yeah, and the Bible says to render each other, each other's conjugal rights, etc., etc.
Okay, so in
Yeah.
Ephesians, a woman is supposed to respect the man, he's supposed to love her.
Mm-hmm.
So when she denies him sex, that is
A
lack of
rejection.
respect.
It's
That
rejection
is
and lack of
rejection,
respect.
but it's lack of respect. And lack of respect, usually the flip side of no respect is having contempt or disgust.
And you're
So it's
probably
a continuity and it goes there.
and you're probably only getting starfish sex maybe once a month, maybe once
Um,
a year.
no, the data on that, I couldn't find it, but I was reading a study years and years ago. I think it was McKinsey. McKinsey's going to come up a lot. The average person, I think it was like 2019 or 2018, is getting it on their birthday and their anniversary. The average guy. So twice a year is. Oh man, where did I see it? I saw it more recently. I think it's the U.S. average is like 4 to 5 times a year, and that includes the guys who are actually, that the girls have genuine desire for and are getting it. Now we have to. They're also including all the guys who never get any ever. But if the average is sitting at 4 to 5, that tells you there's a whole lot of guys who are getting it once, twice, 3 times a year on. Yeah, some girls will throw in Valentine's Day because that's the love.
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll have to go see if I can find that.
Yeah, it doesn't sound very good. So she doesn't have respect for you. Not getting it, but those desires aren't going away. And she probably has those desires, but what's the flip side? If she has those desires, but obviously not with you, whoever that she's with. And if there's a dead bedroom thing going on, there's perhaps some adultery going on one or the other, or perhaps both.
Yeah, I don't think both is common though. Usually in that case, they in the case of both, it's either the swingers or they've just kind of tacitly agreed to it.
Yeah. Well, it might not be either. You could just let her fingers do the walking, like the old yellow pages.
Yeah, that's true. Humans don't need other humans to take the edge off, so to speak.
Hey, that's something that nobody talks about. Yes, guys, women masturbate too.
Amazon delivers.
Oh, it's a good thing we're past the 10-minute mark.
Hey, just the facts, a lot of these women like to shop a lot on Amazon, and you never know what comes in the box.
Got to play on words there, Nick.
No, just facts. A lot of times they have a lot of Amazon boxes always come in, so you never know, what's coming in those boxes.
It was an
Bob.
unintentionally clever play on words, though.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. Are you saying Bob might be in the box?
Uh, put out some good vibes.
There it is. Someone finally said it.
Oh gosh. Okay. All right. So we're talking about dead bedroom, but see, her desires, she still has those. It's just not with you. And that she has contempt, she has resentment, lack of respect. But man looks at, she probably could be looking at it too, though. She's got the romance novel. She might, but hey, Church comes knocking. They start asking questions. What do they say? Oh, it's just because you need to do chore play. You're not loving her enough. Are you watching pornography?
Oh, the chore play bullshit.
Okay, now that question. Okay, in my experience, if you ask a man a question, oftentimes he's reluctant to lie. And he'll say yes. You ask that question to a woman, even if she is, will she lie? Oh, most cases, yes, she will. So that difference in reporting could just come down to um, who's more willing to lie. Who lies more, men or women? That's been a question that's been talked about for a long time. And I've struggled with or thought about for many, many years. And I have come to the conclusion that women lie more, especially when it involves sexual matters. And lying also means not owning up to things or telling the truth or projecting your issues on the man. To not take accountability. It
All
just
right.
seems to fall.
So Nick, you mentioned chore play, and this
Yeah.
actually came across my feed this morning as doing some reading and prep work. This is somebody named Gia McCool. Apparently, she has been married and nurturing relationships for over 20 years, bridging the gaps in modern love and promoting healthy lifestyle for couples. Okay. What is this supposed successful married person's advice? I hear married men say, my wife doesn't care about sex, but the wives tell a different story. Listen to a woman. Of course, we have to listen to women. Okay. My husband watches porn. My husband doesn't find me attractive. Okay, well, honey, hit the treadmill. We can fix this. This is my husband only pleases himself. Clearly related to number one. Okay. She wants it, but for her, the sex needs to be an experience, an environment. I don't even know why that would mutually pleasurable and emotionally connecting, or she won't find it desirable. Um. So what? What?
I call half truth.
Well, okay.
Women
She,
want sex, but she's trying to make it act like, oh, we're these pure people. No.
right. That right. It has to be mutually pleasurable. I see. I really want this to be the best for the guy too, and emotionally connecting. Um. Yeah. Okay. She acknowledges that the drives are different. That's good. First, is well, and this is true. Men and women do tend to want different things out of it.
I don't have one.
Hey, you
Oh,
you
the
just
cringe
need to
is
be
going off. It
more
does not work.
caring and supportive and nurturing and
Mm-mm.
serving her, blah blah blah, and then she'll feel like it.
She
It's like a
she
woman on birth control, right?
kind of, yeah. She has to know you care, just as he needs to know she cares. Um
Nope.
um
No, he doesn't need to know if she cares.
no, yeah, not really.
Does this reflect the women's desires? Of course, there's the 50 Shades, best outsold Harry Potter. Women tend to want to feel dominant. What's the actual like? Well, women do watch corn. What kind of goes on in those corn, though?
Oh, okay. I'm
Okay,
gonna have to
that's
switch I'm gonna have to switch my
this is
Did you want to
okay.
switch now?
Here's what's going on here. Yeah, men want to have sex. For men, sex is primarily physical. But for a woman, sex happens up here as much as in her body. It's what's going on in her brain, the arousal, the fantasy, the
Mhm.
getting in the mood. You gotta you gotta address her mind as much as anything, and that's that whole thing she said kind of makes sense there, but like women, she's not explaining it very well.
That's it's they act like it's this egalitarian kind of bull crap. They say this, but in reality, they want to have a dominant masculine presence. They want a man to take control and
But
not ask to take control.
does the dominant man care?
No.
No,
No, but she just said she wants a man that cares.
that is the tradcon feminist solipsism that they engage in. They want you to believe that you caring more is going to make this work. It's not.
No, I'm not. We're not saying don't care.
Right.
No.
Obviously not. But okay, caring when you're being dominant and actually taking charge. The caring is kind of in the background at that point. She wants to know that you care at other times, but when things get down to making fun time, the caring, that's
Oh,
not the primary thing at that moment.
so Steve, they don't want this. Oh, honey. Oh, you look so beautiful today. Here's some flowers. Oh, I washed the dishes. Oh, you're so beautiful. Here, let me teach you how to have caring, connected sex tonight. Is that okay with you?
I think I heard it. The entire
Uh,
collective world worth of pussy drying up as you said that.
Come on.
Yeah, it doesn't work. It
No.
just I don't know how else to tell you guys. That just doesn't work. You know, Elena was running around cleaning the house today. She cleaned. I didn't. And it's not going to change a thing if you catch what I mean.
Mhm.
All right, so
well,
Nick, I brought it up. Are you
there
ready, or
is
Steve, you want to go?
there's one thing you could that could help when she's running around the house cleaning to promote your sex life. Make sure when she goes by, you just reach out and kind of give her a love pat on the ass or something.
That may have happened. Oh.
Okay. So that's what men do. And that is the kind of foreplay that actually can be effective for guys who don't know that. Yeah. And women are not as fragile as they want you to believe in most of the time because their fantasies go into being their fantasies are all about how they're not very fragile in the bedroom. Let's put it that way.
All right, Nick, did you want me to pull this up, or
Yeah, yeah.
okay? So we've actually looked at this study before in our prior videos, so hopefully we're not shocking anybody. But this is the 2023 P Hub, or the Hub,
I
year
can't
in
see.
review.
Can you blow it up the text a little bit?
Yeah, of course it's going to
There you go.
move all of the
No, shoot.
pictures around. So is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's a fun one. This is what was viewed more by women compared to men. Okay, we get it. You girls have some
Oh,
L fantasies. But that second one, oh, that's
ooh.
interesting.
Wow. So, mm, so the Transformer viewing is way up for women.
Year on year, yeah. So compared to 2022.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. And now there's an interesting way to read this data because this is a year over year increase. And Steve was talking about the domination aspect. So why are these two at the bottom? Oh, that's because they already are so far into these particular topics that there's not a whole lot of growth left. There's not a whole lot of room left to grow into them. And even then they managed to pull out a plus 34%.
But still going up.
Yeah. Because
And
look, if
you
you
know
look
what?
down here, it's
I also notice a lot of these themes are kind of a lot of them are same sex related.
yeah.
Toys. Well, you're not really watching men in toys, are you?
Oh,
No,
there's the top
the
three, the top four,
yeah,
five.
the fourth line there. I mean, the guys are in here.
Most of them.
We got muscular men. I can say that. Uh,
Yeah.
They're in here. I mean, technically, they're in this one too. The second one.
Mhm.
They're technically in that one, depending on how
Yeah.
you count that. Um, another interesting one that before we started. These are who the women are searching for. Notice all the names. Okay, there's one guy, and
Wow.
the rest are women.
Wow.
Uh, there's
Huh.
another note up here. When they do search for male stars, they're all. I'm just going to highlight that. I'm not going to say it.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
when they do search for,
Skittles.
yeah, when they do search for
Oh.
male guys, they tend to be.
Mm. Okay.
That's okay. Let's see. Do we have? Oh, Here we go. Now this is another one that I think we actually did touch on this in our last video. Everyone's going to say, "Oh, well, only 29% of the visitors are women." Okay,
Okay.
there's only two ways they could get that information. The first is if you sign up for an account, obviously being a sex site, you're going to have to list your gender. Okay. What's to stop you from lying about your gender?
Nothing.
I mean, I don't see why a guy would.
Oh, I assume the guys don't. But okay, you're on a site about sex and you just want to watch. You don't necessarily want to engage in the community in some of the how do I put this? Some of the more extreme aspects of that lifestyle. Might you intentionally set your gender to male so that the other guys don't bother you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
It's a possibility.
take these numbers with a massive dose of salt. The only other way to get it would be to log IP addresses and then try and match IP addresses to accounts. And most of the time, it's going to be guys paying the bills, so it's going to be their name on the internet account. Like that's it. It's hard to do. It's not really worth it. This is very likely just from their own internal data about what the ratio is in the database, but they can't know whether or not it's a woman pretending to be a guy so she's not bothered by the
Well,
guys.
here, let's just take the data face value for for my next comment.
Okay.
For every 3 people who visit that site, 2 of them are men, 1 of them is a woman. But the supposed corn problem is all on men.
It's
Huh.
man bad. Man bad.
That's
Especially in the church. Especially in the
that's
church.
not that huge a difference. Hey, and that thing you read about men watching porn and the percentage of male churchgoers watch
Mhm.
porn. What was the percentage of female churchgoers
It
that
was
watch
about
porn?
33%, I think. Yeah.
Okay, so that's significant
25 to
too.
33, yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Okay, it's okay. Men are more apt to do that than women,
Yeah.
but by no means is that the entire problem. And then our
No.
premise of this is sometimes, a lot of times, when men do that, it's because they're not getting any at home and they're very frustrated. But they don't want to go out and have an affair and blow up their life.
Here, can I pull up an are you done with that slide, Plutarch?
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
Alright, I'm gonna add mine now. So this was, I think today or yesterday. There we go, another same lady, Gia McCall, and, our godfather of the red pill, Rollo Tomasi from The Rational Male. It's got a good book, you should read it. She says nudity is cheap and easy. So why is OnlyFans so popular? OnlyFans is so popular because it gives men who lack control the ability to manage and fulfill their desires. Sex is a component of control, but there's more to it. Letting go of control is also a turn on and why, blah, blah, blah. He answers 90% of OnlyFans consumers are married men. Currently, there are 190 million active users on OnlyFans. This is 171 million married men with at least one subscription to the sexuality of a woman who's not his wife. If wives refuse to occupy their husband's sexual attention, he will manage that desire with someone else. It's not a lack of self control, it's simple pragmatism. It is pragmatism, but I would also say it is a lack of self control morally. I mean, I can sort of understand why they want to have that desire fulfilled practically, in the pragmatic sense, but yeah, we are not just brute beasts, and we can control our desires. It might not be OnlyFans, it might be something else. It might be some might have the gift of celibacy, but most who are married don't have the gift of celibacy, so something's probably happening.
Well, but it wasn't it Paul, or was it Paul? I think who was talking about this. Is if you don't have the gift of celibacy, that that's marriage is good. You should be married for
Yeah,
that reason.
then you're not to like not give each other their conjugal rights, right? Otherwise, you let them burn, and that's not good.
Okay, but I want to
Is that
attack her premise here, though, because her
Right.
premise is that OnlyFans is popular because it gives men who lack the ability to control themselves. Okay, but you still haven't addressed why the men are here in the first place.
Right. It's just lack of self-control. It's just man bad.
Well, what she's really saying is that these men are so out of control that even their wife is. It's what she's really trying to say. I think is they're so out of control and they're so over the top desirous of other women that or of just having sex and getting as much as they can, that they do this in addition to what their wife so graciously gives them in the bedroom. Like, she's implying that
Uh,
he gets everything he wants in the bedroom and he still has to go do this.
well, there might be some of that there. There's probably some of that there. I just don't think it's the majority at all.
Most guys on sex drive probably isn't that high because of something like we talk about dopamine and all that, but it's something called cortisol. Cortisol depresses your sex drive because cortisol is the long-term stress hormone. And if you're working a high stress job and you've got to keep the mortgage payment and the food on the table and the car notes paid, and you got to keep working, and you need your boss to be happy, so you get that raise. And men are stressed all the time. So this idea that we have some sort of excess sex drive out there to just blow on OnlyFans, I think is biologically untrue. Just if you look at the biology of how this stuff works, then you look at the lives that men report living in other data, about the stress of work and the stress of a home life. And it comes up in these surveys, the stress of and not getting any in the dead bedroom.
Probably not just a dead bedroom, it's probably a dead relationship. Like, there's probably no sense of, usually the woman giving any kind of attention
Oh,
to the man.
Nick, so you mean like when the guy gets home from, 8 hours of work, 2 to 3 hours of slogging through traffic, and she says, "You need to take the kids now.
Right.
I'm tired. I need a nap." That might not have anything to do with the guy's cortisol levels either.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, hey, what about 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 5? I'm going to read it from the King James Bible. Defraud ye not one
Yep.
the other, except it be with consent for a time, that ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and come together again, that Satan tempt you not for your incontinency. Okay, so the theme here is refusal, dead bedroom. You're defrauding your
Yes.
spouse because it is a right to sexual union.
And
So,
Steve just pissed off every feminist.
if
okay. I do that every day.
you choose to not engage in conjugal union, it is mutual agreement, mutual consent. It's not just the wife telling her husband. You have to actually talk about it and agree to it. And why? Because if you're defrauding your husband, depriving him, or husband depriving wife, you are opening the door for Satan to tempt them. And hey, that temptation may include use of pornography.
Right.
But nobody's talking about this.
Well, I think it's also, it's the use of pornography, but also the OnlyFans, because it's not just the mere act. Okay, guys want the act, right? But we don't want the mere act. We want a real person. But OnlyFans, it kind of gives you the safety being within your own house, and you're not physically touching another woman. Even though I think it really kind of borders on adultery. There's a good theological topic to talk about. If you have any theological scholars, whether it's formal adultery or is it just on the cusp of it. Anyways, 90% are married men of OnlyFans.
Well, Nick, what does OnlyFans provide that the hub does not?
An actual interaction with a real woman.
Now, would that be an interaction with a woman who's being pleasant?
Probably. I've never
watched or
it.
would it be a woman who is nagging him?
Well,
which would the man more prefer? The interaction with a nagging woman or a pleasant woman?
A pleasant one. It's
it should be a no-brainer.
Yeah, it should be a no-brainer.
Maybe if the wife is refusing and nagging, he's going to go to OF and have a subscription so he can watch a woman actually be sexual and actually have a pleasant conversation, communication with her. A woman who's not nagging him. Gee, this is just mind blowing, isn't it?
Yes, and Shu, you are correct. Do make sure it's not the Tate Bros in your OFDM inbox. Because yes, there's another interesting aspect that I haven't seen anybody comment on yet. 90% of OnlyFans consumers are married men. Okay, and we just stated that OnlyFans models tend to be more pleasant. Now, I maintain that they're
Right.
more pleasant for the same reason that prostitutes are more pleasant.
Mhm.
You're buying that. That's
Sure.
the product they're selling.
Yeah, fine.
Okay. The fact that so many married men feel the need to go to a site where they can get that interaction from women should tell you everything you need to know about how the women are treating their men in these relationships. Like, we have no concrete data that says that the dead bedroom is caused by things before pornography. We have, except this.
Right. This is why I wanted to bring this up, because it's highlighting an aspect that the other surveys don't. And if people want to talk about the data, oh, it's not, there's an answer to the data here. Da, 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 da. There we go. The stats are not accurate. Like, no, it's a $18 billion company. Rolo says, trust me, it's in their best interest to gather accurate data and to be as transparent about it as possible. Oh, you mean there's some economic self-interest to have good stats to make money? Yeah, I'm not saying you should go get OnlyFans, not at all. Just saying.
Basically, Gia, what you're trying to do is present a conspiracy theory, because in order for OnlyFans to make the most amount of money, they need to know who their target demographics are so that they can target them for advertising and whatnot. And so what you're saying is a conspiracy of they have accurate data so that they can do this, but they chose to lie about it publicly in wise to make married men their primary target demo look like, huh? This is illogic. This is why we are so focused here on just looking at the logic of a thought process. Because when you go ahead,
the stats she mentions don't even make sense. 90% are married. Okay. Average age is 29 years old. That would actually make, and since there's such a high percentage, that would actually make the average age of married men 29 years old. That's not true. No way is that true. There's less than 50% of 29-year-old men are married, would be my guess. I don't know. It's not a high number.
Well, what if
So
it
how
is
is
true?
this even possible?
Oh, it's possible. Okay. We have
That
to get
would
into a little
mean
bit.
even the young men are being deprived of sex in their marriage.
I would argue they are.
Yeah, they are.
So when you go look at stats for older boomers and Gen X, their relationship stats look way more normal. So when we talk about, people having sex more often, the data is perfectly crystal clear that those stats are being skewed by the older generations. The boomers and Xers are far more likely to have sex more often. The millennials and
Enter technology.
What?
Enter the technological internet age.
Yes, although I don't think that the internet is causal here. I think it's a reaction function. The millennials were the first generation to have grown up entirely suffused in a culture of modern intersectional feminism. So you're a millennial's 43 or younger right now, born in 1981. So by 1981, all your Disney stories have been fully, transmogrified into feminist stuff. Almost all the media you got was, feminism great, man, man bad.
Mhm.
And these women are the first generation who have never seen or heard or lived anything else. With the Xers and particularly the boomers, boomer women grew up in an environment that was just not what you see now. I don't know how to describe it. My dad would do a lot better job because, well, he is a boomer, literally. Um, he grew up, and maybe we can get him on here and have a conversation about what life looked like back then. But and even Xers kind of grew up with it. But these women really do believe in the idea that you should do absolutely nothing for the benefit of a man, especially have sex with him.
Well, selfishness has increased in both men and women in younger
Yes.
generations because of the way society has gone. It's less about supporting the family, doing your duty, working hard because that's what's expected of you. It's more of live for pleasure. This is a continuity. We've been going this direction for a long time. And it's really gotten, I think, a lot more prevalent.
Talk about the sexual marketplace. So now with the advent of the internet and the apps, the swiping right or whatever you're doing on the different apps, women go for the top 20% of men usually, and a lot of times those are the ones that they have the crazy monkey sex with, right? They're very promiscuous, especially at a very young age, and they have generally pretty high body counts, so they've been run through by the chads, the top 20% guys, but then they start looking for a hubby, a beta provider, a guy who's going to put food on the table. Well, we can have a few kids. But do they have the sexual urges that they had for the guys that they were run through with in the early days? The guys that they couldn't capitalize on but are still dreaming of.
No.
Oh, so you
Isn't this kind of talked about in the red pill as the
Oh,
alpha
yeah.
widow?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a term for it. And yeah, right. It happens. Yeah, that's pretty much the story of my first marriage. She got interested in me, the nice dweeby engineer, uh, right before, as she was approaching 30. Gee, who'd have thunk?
Well, the world has a lot of issues with the descriptions that us in the red pill like to state, and this is one of the big ones right here.
And
They
so
don't.
you wonder why there's so many on OnlyFans as well. These women don't desire these guys. They got them for the kids and for
Yep.
the money. They
Yep.
don't really want them physically. And the guys know that. They pick up on that. They've sort of kind of given up and kind
Maybe.
of had a
I don't
solution.
know. I don't know if they pick up on it, but they're just doing, they're coming up with the best solution in their brain.
Mhm.
To get rid of this urge and to just survive and tolerate the situation they're in.
Hey, the church says, you men, you're nasty. You have all this sexual desire. That's bad. You're not loving your wife enough. You're not patient enough. You're not doing shore play. You're watching porn. That's your problem in your marriage.
And that's the whole problem. That's why your marriage is bad. It's all because of the man.
So is porn really the marriage problem? It can be in some senses. Yeah. So there's some guys out there that have like always get off on it, and they can have a wife that puts out over and over again. Sure. I mean, that does happen, but I don't think that's the normal case at all,
Well,
as the OnlyFans pretty much shows.
so Nick, there's an interesting fact that is in one of the articles I sent you, and what they noted is that in psychology and psychiatry, there is no formal diagnosis for pornography addiction. It's usually lumped in under the other dopamine-based addictions. So that would be your smoking, your those sort of addictions. And for a certain percentage of guys, they are, excuse me, they're going to be more. There's a genetic component to this where they're more just easily afflicted by dopamine. I mean, there are some guys out there who they need that gambling, for example. Okay, gambling is another example of something that guys do that can be addicting or is not addicting. Okay. Some people have a problem with gambling. Others walk into a casino, throw some money on the roulette wheel, lose it and go, oh, well, okay, that was interesting. Or they win and they go, oh, okay, well, that was interesting. And but then there are some guys who and girls who they have to,
Right.
right? So pornography addictions are usually lumped in under that because it's the same hormone mechanism. So I would expect that the percentage of guys actually addicted to it generally follows those other dopamine based addictions. So that like this idea that all these men out here is they what 70% or I forget what your survey said, it's like 68 or something percent of guys out there in the church are
Like 66%, I think.
okay. Yeah. That is not the percentage of people who who have easy predilection to dopamine based addictions.
Sorry, 68% of church-going men
Church going
and
men. Okay.
50% of pastors view porn regularly.
Yeah.
That was close. Yeah.
68% of men are not predisposed to dopamine based addictions. It's going to be somewhere between 10 to 15%.
Let me ask this. If a man has had sex with his wife for the next 2 days, 3 days, maybe a week, is he inclined to go look at porn? Or is he kind of satiated?
Well, he's satiated.
Well, it's the same mechanism as post nut clarity.
Well, yeah, okay. So if he's having sex with his wife once a week, he probably might have enough resolve to not watch porn. And given his options, gee, do I want sex with my wife or do I want to watch porn? Generally, he's going to choose sex with his wife unless he's just a nagging woman who just, oh God, I can't even get it up for her.
Oh,
Sorry. I got this deflation problem because she nags me all the time. Now, you know what? I've been there.
Yeah, me too.
So have I. It's when you're, I would actually go so far as to say that a nagging woman is a sexual depressant. Like it actively depresses your sex drive. And now I'm not going to say that it could do that necessarily for porn as well, because porn becomes the outlet for not getting it. But there were times when I was married to my first wife where there was no amount of money that was good that you could pay me for me to perform, shall we say. It wasn't going to happen. Now, this is towards the end of the relationship, and it was a part of the problem in that relationship. But she was always on my case about how I didn't do this and I need to do that better and blah, 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 blah. No, you couldn't have paid me to perform, and certainly not with her. Maybe with other women, in fact, probably with other women, but not her. So if you're out here nagging your husband, women, if you're out here going, you need to do this and you need to do that, blah, 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 you're being the best Karen you can be.
Well, this brings up another thing. You said maybe with another woman, but as a Christian man, you're not inclined to do that.
Ah, yes.
You might have the urge to do that because you do have a sexual urge. Okay, when you're away from the nagging wife, that urge returns.
Yes.
So now in your mind, you're going to say, gee, I could go pursue another woman, but that's against my morals.
Mm-hmm.
I could use porn. That's against my morals, but it's the lesser of two evils. And given how humans behave, we don't always have the resolve to do no sin, but we might take the lesser of two sins. Because, hey, remember, if you're not, remember what I read on 1 Corinthians 7:5? Let me find that.
Depriving of one another.
Yeah, depriving one another. You need to come together that Satan will not tempt you for your
Yeah.
incontinency
Mm-hmm.
or lack of self-control. Yes.
Right.
You're not getting any at home and she's nagging and it's just not happening. You are tempted and you don't have the self-control, or at least your self-control is sorely tested. And hey, people's self-control is often not strong enough to resist. So why are you setting this up? Why are you making life difficult? I mean, this applies to men and women. Don't deprive each other because it's important. It's part of your marital vows and obligations. And
That's
yeah, and
patriarchy.
don't
No, that's
nag your husband
patriarchy.
either.
No, Steve, what you're talking about is misogynistic patriarchy.
Yes, and I am guilty of that.
Me too.
There's a thing that I think that the church doesn't really want to talk about here, and it's this idea that men are supposed to be these bottomless oceans of paragon. They are men are supposed to be Jesus. We're supposed to be perfectly untemptable. We are supposed to be perfectly in control at all times. I don't know about you two, but I personally have never encountered a man who was Jesus.
Right.
And these women are out here acting with their nagging and bullshitting in such a
Yeah.
way as to actively push their men away. And then they complain when the man goes away and loses his self-control. And they use it as some kind of evidence that, well, he wasn't a good enough Christian. Like,
Oh, see, he got mad at me. We weren't having having sex. Oh, that's a type of verbal abuse, and they can even portray it. Even some, they might try to construe to some sort of essay type thing.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Even if you're only having sex 10, 12 times a year, she could still say, and he's always pestering me for sex. I think he's obsessed.
Mm-hmm.
Obsessed with sex because he's always pestering me.
No, he's obsessed with
Hey,
porn. See, look at all the porn he's watching. He's you got to divorce him. He's an adulterous bad man. He doesn't care about you at all.
you know what? There's a simple solution to this. All a man should do is give her the number of paychecks that, according to weekly paychecks, not biweekly, weekly paychecks, according to the number of times he has sex a year. If it's 4 times, well, you know what? He can survive on 4 times having sex per year. Surely he can survive on 4 of his paychecks per year.
I'm deleting that comment.
Yeah, I saw that. Sorry, Leroy. um, but it's this idea that it's all the men's fault. It's like, no. And the church has been just absent without leave on this one. And they sort of take the woman's view and interpretation and her story on this as gospel. And they don't ask, so how are you behaving in the relationship? And here's one they don't say. Have you hit the treadmill recently? Look, I hate to say it, but you know what? Guys are visual creatures. You
All right.
can kill the boner by being a fat ass.
Guys can be that too, and guys should get on the treadmill as well.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Now, statistically speaking, guys are less likely to be that, and there's estrogen is the fat hormone, so it's a lot easier for women to pack on the weight, whereas testosterone is the muscle hormone. Like there again, it's like but we will not look at what the women are doing. And
Right.
I'm not going to say that the first thing she needs to do is go out and hit the treadmill. Although if I see a woman who is overweight, obese, maybe even morbidly so, and I look at that and I go, okay, well, clearly you don't care about yourself. Clearly you don't care about your man and what he has to suffer through. And you're just in this for some sort of hedonic pleasure of eating. Like that's your whole existence on life. You have no purpose other than that. And yet I'm supposed to sit here and call you a 10, and when your guy's out there whacking off to an OnlyFans chick, I'm supposed to take your side.
Plutarch, I think you're being unfair.
Okay.
Haven't you looked at her fingernails? She has perfectly beautiful, long, painted fingernails. They're absolutely beautiful, and that in her mind that counterbalances the extra weight she has. Just look
So
at these.
we have a running like inside. I don't know how many times we've said it publicly, but we have a running inside a joke about how, you know, the fatter a woman gets, the more she takes care of her nails.
Is that a joke or an observation?
So,
Both. The observation has become an inside joke.
Well, so Leroy, this I actually do agree with. I don't have any hard data on it, at least not up in front of me. There's finding good data is so hard on this topic. But by age 25, women could very well have a body count of 20 plus. As anecdotal evidence, there's this TikTok I was watching. She was a German exchange student, and she listed her body count when she graduated. They call it primary school or something like that. It's their
okay.
version of high school. I forget. It was like 4 or 5, and then she did 4 years of U.S. college, and you and she showed herself, and she's dancing around, of course, because TikTok is cancer. And she listed her body count as 40 or 50, and this is a 22-year-old woman. She goes from
Wow.
5 to 50. And
She's gonna have that 1,000-mile stare.
well, but this is another aspect
You can't fill those shoes.
right, exactly. This is another aspect that where what the women, and this is something that a woman brings into the relationship. You're the provider guy, and this girl has had 50 bodies hanging off of her. The probability that that there is some guy in there, because if we say 10%, if we say 20% of men are alphas, just you go 80-20 rule. If you have 50 bodies, that means that there's not one, not two, not three, but 10 men in her history that are better than you. 10. That's
And don't
terrifying.
be honest about their count either.
Oh, yeah. But 10 men that beat you.
Wow.
And to some extent, we act like we're surprised that there's a dead bedroom and women don't want to have sex with that guy. Well, look, when you've had 10 guys who one of whom, then there's always the one that got away, right? But one of whom that she
Right.
absolutely cannot get over. Honestly, why do we expect these women to be genuinely desirous of us? Why? Honestly, men, this is kind of on you for deluding yourself into thinking that this chick with 50 bodies hanging off of her is going to have any particular interest in you whatsoever.
See, for the streets.
Right.
Unfortunately, this kind of correlates with our last stream, which was on the Baskerville solution.
Yep.
Coining a phrase for Stephen, Professor or Dr. Stephen Baskerville, talking about the marriage strike and saying, yeah, it's a good thing. Don't marry for now. Don't have kids for now, even though he's a proponent and he believes that marriage and family is the foundation of society. Until things change, men have to not wife up these women under the current situation. Because if you get her pregnant and you have a couple kids with her, and she's got this mentality, and you're not the man, you're not number one,
right?
Fun time in her mind. Others out there better. So she leaves and she takes the kids.
Yep.
Your kids belong first and foremost to the man, biblically.
Yep.
So, yeah, don't do it, guys. And yeah, I'm gonna tell you, be celibate, but also realistic, and knowing that, yeah, that's probably not going to exclusively happen. I mean, I'm realistic. So again, it's this nasty choice between the lesser of two evils. Marrying her when she's settling for you, having a couple kids with her, and then she divorces you and she leaves you and takes the kids, and now you become a slave because you're paying child support, and she's going to poison the kids' minds against you. Man, how can I advise a man to do that? I just can't.
I mean, that sounds terrible, but that's the reality of so many men and families in this nation.
So realistically, what are you going to do? Don't get married and live independently. Yeah. Realistically, that means I'm actually accepting the fact that there will be serial monogamy, situationships, use of women. I understand that. But my God, the meat grinder and having kids that you cannot raise that will be poisoned against you. That is so horrendous.
Yeah.
I would go so far as to say, and I hate to have to say this, but bringing children into this world only to be forced to give them up to the state, basically, and be destroyed, is a pretty tall sin. And I
won't
think
be there to back you up. They'll throw you under the bus.
Right. The church isn't helping at all. Like they're actually making this worse. And this is one of my biggest beefs with, and I've been on this guy for months now. Jeremy Boring and his crowd at the Daily Wire just saying, "Oh, well, just get married because we're not going to be able to fix this problem for the next 10, 20, 50, 30 years. So, or, this is a long-term problem. So just get married and have kids." Now, you, Mr. Boring, are recommending that men get married, have kids, and perpetuate the state that is causing the problem that you're trying to fix. You cannot put a fire out by throwing more gasoline on it. You can't do it. So I don't know, Leroy. Unfortunately, I would love to be able to say that you're wrong here. Maybe porn is better than marrying a whore. Maybe it is.
This is
Not because
actually
porn's
scandalous.
good.
The
Three
lesser.
Christian guys talking about the bad options that men have. But we're talking about it realistically. Okay, you church leaders, you come in with a solution, not a pie in the sky. Oh no, women are not this way. Oh no, just pray harder. Not one of these bullshit solutions. Something actually practical. And you know what? You know it's practical if it actually works for good men, decent men who are not Christian, because they also have the same problems. And it's not just pray harder, so you will be okay, and everybody else is screwed. No, we need a societal solution. That's why the marriage strike is actually a societal solution, because that 80% of men, number one, they do not want to use porn. Number two, they do not want to go out and bang a lot of women.
Mm-hmm.
Number three, they want one woman to love and provide for. Number four, they want a legacy, which comes from children and forming a family and having that family carry on. And so,
And
forcing them not to do this, they're giving up a lot. But you know what? By encouraging them to marriage and getting thrown in the meat grinder, it all gets destroyed anyway.
right, this feminism gynocentric system, people say you're just so mean. No, I am. Yes, I'm mean. And for a reason. This is absolutely terrible what you're doing to families and men. And you're ruining women in the process as well. Yeah, this is effing terrible. How would you like your kids to be taken from you? How would you like to get divorced? How would you like to marry somebody and then guess what? Oh, they're dreaming about the Chad and the other 40 guys that get ran through that you probably didn't know about, and you have a dead bedroom, and then the church makes you feel guilty if you watch porn.
So, with all these problems in the world, problems in the family, is corn use the biggest problem? Is it the cause of these problems? Was this stuff going on prior to the prevalence of corn? Well, if it was, and it was, then you can't blame it all on corn. That's just convenient. Solve the problems and watch men get on board to do what men have always done. It's not that difficult. But we're not going to talk about those solutions as a society. No, we're going to keep feeding you bullshit things to believe.
Well, the interesting thing about the Baskerville solution, as we've started to term it here, is that men are already doing it in a disorganized way. I agree with him that we need to start organizing it, that we also need to start telling women why. Men, it needs to be I'm not going to give you marriage. I am not going to give you children. And I will continue to not do those things until X, Y, and Z goal is achieved. And those goals are the dismantling of the welfare state, the dismantling of the child support state, and those things. And it's you women will not get what you want until such time as us men are freed from the shackles that you have decided that you need to place on us. Yeah, Shu, you're going to see this out of every pastor ever, because at the end of the day, no matter where they sit on this issue, even privately in their own minds, they got to keep the lights on in their mind, and nothing trumps keeping the lights on. And sorry, the only way to do that is to appease the women right now, because they fill up the churches. So, I mean, I can.
They have kids, and they have kids, and then
Yeah.
they have. So they want their church to keep growing, and I can't blame them for that type of thought, but it's also short-sighted, or we're not
Yeah.
really engaging with the real issues that men are going through, not wanting to fix anything, and just like, oh, it's just going to keep going, everything's fine.
Well, it's no different than what Jeremy Boring said. Just keep getting married and having kids now. At some unspecified future date, we will solve this issue for you. Bitch, please. You conservatives have solved nothing for 40 years. Giving you another 20 ain't going to fix a damn thing. No, men are going to have to take it in. We have to take this into our own hands now.
Just look at the trajectory. Where have we been? Where are we now? Things are not going to turn around unless something causes a change.
Something big.
And okay, is it the hand of God coming down? Yeah, maybe. Is it a financial calamity? Great Depression, another Great Depression? Yeah, maybe. Is it a war that kills a lot of people and causes physical hardship? Maybe. I'm not predicting any of those things.
We don't know.
I'm saying, absent a major thing, we're on this trajectory that's not going to change. So, men's marriage strike, is that big enough in itself to change things? Probably not. But it could be enough of a triggering event when one of these other things happens that causes the laws to change. Then we can start rebuilding families. Because through society, we need to rebuild the core, the foundation. We need to rebuild a solid family.
Well, it's interesting. In Aaron Clary's book, his book, the one, A World Without Men, he actually notes that the average man can live off $22,000 a year. That a man living off that is right now an 80% depression. It's an 80% destruction of economic activity. If men just say, yeah, we're not going to get involved with these women, and I don't need a whole lot of money to live my life, $20,000, $40,000 a year, the laws will change, because the economic destruction that one small change will make is, I hate to use the word incalculable because it's not quite incalculable, but it's close. We don't know where that damage ends, is kind of how it works out. So, Steve, you're right. Is the marriage strike itself going to cause the solution to come about? No. But men who aren't getting married and having kids don't need to buy things. And men who don't need to buy things don't need to produce for the economy.
You know what? You're just living off $22,000 a year. Yeah. I bet what? Well, I don't know if that's before or after taxes.
That was before taxes, because at $22,000 a year, your taxes are either zero or negative, effectively, for most people.
Okay, well, you know what?
Hmm.
Nick's planning.
I probably don't spend that much on living expenses per year right now.
Mhm.
It's probably under 20, around 20, let's say.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not my income. I make a lot more than that. The dollar, my accounts in the bank keep going up.
Good for you.
But and you know what? I'm not working as hard as I could. I'm
Exactly.
just not. I could, you know what? I could bump my income 10 or 15% if I took everything that all the work that I'm entitled to. I get to choose day by day. I got a
Yeah.
a good situation. And so a lot of times I say, yeah, I'm doing okay. No, I really don't want to work harder today.
Okay.
I choose accordingly.
Now apply this to guys working at like, say, Chick-fil-A. Oh, well, I'm
I've
not
worked
going to
there.
take. Yeah, I'm not going to take that shift. That shift. I don't need it. I don't need the money. I won't work that overtime. I don't need that money.
Right.
Exactly. That's what happens.
Right. So the economic destruction of men opting out of marriage and children is a greater depression. This actually ends up being worse than the last Great Depression. So, Steve, I think you're onto something. I think, guys coming in and saying, yeah, we're just not going to do that for you. It's not the thing that changes the laws. But if we start telling women, oh, yeah, look, I'm not getting married. I'm not having kids with you. And I will not until these things change. Then the women are going to go, initially, they're going to go, oh, well, that's fine. I'm a boss, babe. I don't need you. But remember, your taxes that you're not paying because you're not making as much go to fund the welfare state that the women rely on.
Right.
Okay. So eventually the women are going to come along and say, well, we need to raise taxes. And you're going to go, on who? On what?
Here's another interesting thing. This has been talked about a lot. That men and women have more sex prior to marriage than they do after marriage.
Yes.
So, okay, in this marriage strike, now that you're kind of living a minimalist lifestyle and you're not paying for her stuff, you actually have power and leverage that you can contribute to helping her, which keeps her interested and her legs apart. So you basically have authority, and now you're getting sex. But the minute, well, not minute, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years, whatever, down the
2
road,
years.
once you marry, now she's entitled, and she doesn't have to think about the insecurity. Her legs come together like that.
Got you by the
So,
balls.
yeah,
Literally.
Okay. Okay. I this is not advice. I'm just making an observation. Now, you Christian pastors and Christian people, you come up with a solution to this. Because I'm not recommending what men do. I'm just observing what happens. So, what is your solution?
Well, so, and I want to be very clear here. Your solution has to actually solve the problem. A solution that says just pray more, I hate to break it to you guys, is not actually a solution. It
You know what
doesn't
might start
work.
being a solution, which I try to get them to start doing. It might not be a total solution. How about you start suspending and excommunicating all the feminists in your congregation.
Would certainly help things. I don't know. I don't think it's a complete solution, but you
How about you
can't
hold these
hurt.
women accountable? How about you suspend them from the sacraments when they refuse stuff with their husband? Oh, you should be doing that already, but you're not.
It's not
Because you
going to
don't do
happen.
crap. Because y'all don't do crap.
It's not going to happen. And Plutarchus says the solution's not coming from the church.
No, they don't do
Right.
crap.
This is why I keep saying it, because this was my experience with the church. This is Nick's experience with the church. The church
Mine too.
could. Okay.
They just don't. They don't even look into it.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Man bad.
They just support the woman to the destruction of the family. So
Absolutely.
the church, the solution is not coming from the church. It's going to have to be some kind of societal destructive outcome before things will change. It's not a prediction.
Oh, you mean
It's just
sometimes
my
God's
belief
judgments are
in
actually mercy?
understanding history.
Oh, so
What'd you say, Nick?
underneath God's, so sometimes underneath judgments, I would say God's judgments, there's actually mercy.
Well, sometimes the judgment comes for the church too.
Right.
And that's a
I'm
good
saying, but
thing.
in the end, it can bring mercy
Yes.
because it faces them to deal with reality.
I have, and I see this a lot, particularly in churches that are very, how do I put this, doctrinal and theological in nature. They tend to believe that God would never cull the church. I don't know why, but I think it stems from we pray hard enough, so we will be okay. No. If you're a useless church, God has no use for you. Why would not he cull you? He's done it before.
Yeah.
It can just because just because it hasn't happened in a long time. Actually, that's probably a better argument for it needs it needs to happen or is going to happen soon.
Right.
But yeah, that's why this is why I keep saying that the answer is not going to come from the church. It's why that I love the that it's I love the fact that it's coming from Stephen Baskerville, who is actually an academic, but and I, we're already starting to see in the data that men are doing it anyway, because that is the natural outcome of what's been done to men. The young men look at all these old men getting older men, not old men, just older men, even 10 years older than them, getting absolutely demolished. And they're saying, yeah, not for me, fam. I'm good over here pulling down 20 grand with my PlayStation and my phone. And I can get everything I need out of those.
It's not the smarter men, or it's not all men doing that. It's the smarter men. The men who will make a difference are the ones who are actually going on the marriage strike. The men with the options who actually observe things, the good men,
the men that women want,
who would make good fathers, are not marrying. Now, there are a lot of men who don't know any better and who refuse to learn and have drunk the Kool-Aid and what society tells them. Yeah, they're going to continue to get married. But the problem is they're not really the men that the women want. And so if they get married, kind of indicates that the divorce rate will actually increase.
Yep.
Because those are not the men that the women want.
Right.
And she'll get divorced the moment she gets interest from the guy she does want. So the game's going to accelerate.
Well, go ahead.
Well, I was just saying the cycle is going to accelerate.
I do
Back
have one.
to
I
go
do have
ahead.
one thing I think pornography actually is a problem for.
Okay.
Before we go
And
into that, I just want to say,
okay,
we've had some discussions with Dr. Stephen Baskerville. Email. He was kind of chuckling, I think, or just appreciative that we coined the phrase the Baskerville solution. And we will be doing a review of his latest book. We do need, it'll be, a month or so out there because we need to go through it. And I think he'll probably come on and have a good discussion with us. And maybe we'll bring him on from time to time to just be a participant on our channel. I would enjoy that. But you know what? We can say things that he won't.
That's true. Yeah,
So,
he won't
oh
say
yeah,
so
them.
we're gonna
I
be
will.
we're gonna be further out there, and he has to be more reserved. I understand that, but hey, I would enjoy that. So now,
Yeah, that'd be great.
what are you going at?
I
With
think
porn has a problem, which is
erectile dysfunction.
okay.
Oh yes. No, that's a real thing.
That is a real thing. Even Sterling Cooper, he's really big. He used to be a porno guy, and he's not anymore, as far as I know. And he's telling men not if you're having problems in the bedroom getting it up, stop watching corn. Now, there's
Oh,
other things that could be going on. She might be fat, and you might be fat. You might have low testosterone. There could be age issues, biological issues, but yeah, it is a contributing factor to erectile dysfunction.
do we have any data on that? Because I've seen it before. That actually goes back to a
I
biology
think I
thing.
have something here. I have one on psychology today. I can share that on my screen.
I just want to put something in front of the guy. Say, hey, look, no,
Put something on
this
there.
is this is a
No, I
real
can do
thing.
that right here. There, add to stage. And I'll zoom it in. Says key points, the amount of porn a man watches is linked to ED. More porn equals more ED. Heavy porn use is linked to dissatisfaction. Okay. Leads to emotional, psychological disconnect, sexual dysfunction within flesh partners. Okay. Dysfunction, struggle with
Go back
delayed
up to the
ejaculation.
top.
All right.
Oh no, just those points.
Okay.
Okay. Monosex linked to ED. Heavy porn use. Okay, now let's replace just as a correlation, women's promiscuity. The amount of men a woman has been with is linked to lack of desire with the man she marries. Heavy, high body count is linked to dissatisfaction with real world sex with their husband. The constant fantasy satisfaction cycle with having fun with lots of chads leads to emotional and psychological disconnection with live partners. Oh, the man you married. In many women, high body count leads to dissexual or sexual dysfunction with their husbands. Wait, it works that way too.
A little bit, yeah.
I mean, okay, so
Different body parts and blood
I'm
pumping
not
and yeah.
trying to throw it on women. I'm just
Right.
saying, yeah, this happens. And ED, okay, that is lack of desire or ability to get it up because a man is thinking about or been enculturated with something else. Makes sense, and I agree. Women, there's a similar thing with women, which I just kind of outlined. So, anyway, that doesn't mean men shouldn't be aware of this, with the porn use.
So,
Go ahead.
yes, there was an interesting set of numbers down there, though, that is below the fold here.
Gotta go scroll down.
Yeah. Okay. Depending on the research, anywhere from 17 to 58% of men who self-identify as heavy compulsive or addicted users struggle with some form of sexual dysfunction. Well, that result is interesting by itself. What they're saying, and don't take this the wrong way, we're still not condoning porn morally here, but actually parse what that is saying. Somewhere between 17 to 60% of men, which means anywhere from 80 to 40% of men, even if they are using porn in a compulsive manner, don't struggle with ED. So whenever you read these statistics, flip them around. Now, again, I'm not saying this is good, but is it, this is one of those things. It's like, okay, I read that and I go, but how do we know that there's not some other confounding factor to this data? As Shu says here, zinc and exercise for men, but large Marge can't ever help you get it up. Yeah,
Or a
right,
nagging woman.
right. So again, they haven't done the one step back to really sort of see what the factor was that actually caused this to happen. It's presumed the question kind of starts with porn. Now, there are actual fMRI studies that show that there can be that men heavy use porn. There's certain sectors of the brain that don't light up. So again, I'm not saying that this is true, but I'm not saying that this is false, but it's like what's interesting to me is that they had to go with a number that that is primarily located. Let's say you take the middle of it, the mid span of it is probably 40 some percent, roughly.
And then how long does this condition last?
Oh, well,
A
there's a
week,
famous
a
study on
month,
that.
6 months. Okay, you got ED from overuse of porn and from coming home to large Marge. Now, if it was skinny Jenny, and you stopped using porn, maybe you'd be good to go in about a week or two.
Right. So porn definitely does contribute to ED. And look what Sterling said. He said, if you're having trouble in the bedroom, stop looking at porn, because within a week or two, or depending on how much, guess what? That urge is coming back. You are still wired a certain way. And so yes, if you stop looking at porn, it will come back. Yes. So
Assuming there's not other issues going on. Yeah.
right. Doesn't mean there's not other issues, but and so I would list it as a contributing factor. And I think what we've demonstrated today is that there isn't just one factor to look at. And it isn't, porn is a factor,
But
but
is
it's
it
not
the cause? It's not the foundational factor
it's not the
at all.
foundational factor.
At all.
The title of the stream was "Is Corn the Problem?" So I think we just answered that. No. One of many problems, probably not the biggest problem and not the causal problem.
Could there be a unique case out there? Sure. Are there outliers? Yeah, it's like
Yes.
with women, AWOL, right? Not all women are like
Yeah.
that. We get it. But generally speaking, is corn really the problem? Is corn the relationship problem? I guess we all agree it's not.
Well, and I think it shows up
So,
in the data.
so now, three Christian guys talking about this topic in such a forthright and frank manner. This stream is not going to be well liked or well accepted by Christian folk.
and I'm not advocating watching it at all. I think it's immoral as a Christian. So I don't encourage anyone to do it. But it is
But
better.
we
It is
still
better
need
than
to
cheating on your wife.
we still need to discuss this, because the lack of discussion is actually fostering the problem. Whereas a stream like ours, discussing it lets people think through it and realize, okay, what can I change, or what needs to change to address this issue?
Well, and I would point out that this porn thing is such a canard, particularly of the tradcon right. Their women are most likely to use this against their men. And I even see people in the red pill space saying, "Oh yeah, like." Now, a lot of them are going to be a little more, yeah, porn's not that bad, but there are people who are associated with the red pill space saying, "Oh no, no, porn's the problem." I don't think that's intentional on their part. I think it's just that's the only narrative that's ever been out there. And they are not really looking into it because it's a narrative that sounds accurate. How could porn not be the problem? It's interjecting other women inside the marriage. And I mean, I agree, that's what makes it immoral, right? Like, however, we're not looking at why the men are doing this. And I think particularly the OnlyFans data is just incredibly damning, because these men are going somewhere else, not just to look at physically pleasing women, but to have an interaction with them, to have a pleasant interaction with them.
Let
Okay.
me remind everyone that correlation is not causation.
Yep.
Let's throw some reason into this. Yes, it's prevalent, and it's mostly present in these problems that lead to divorce and all kinds of other issues. Just because it's present doesn't mean it's just because there's a correlation does not mean it's the causal factor.
Right. That's correct.
And I think one of the things that I would say, particularly as a result of this stream, is we need to do a lot better research and get a lot better data on the causal factors. We're not going to, because it means asking some really damning questions of female behavior in relationships. But I believe the OnlyFans data in particular shows that there is something else that we're not seeing.
That's why I saw that. I was like, this is a gold mine right here.
Well,
And
it was a good topic, Nick, because no one else is really taking this topic head on like we did.
hey, just the facts.
Sometimes the data takes us in directions that are uncomfortable for us.
Yeah. The facts don't care about your feelings.
Yeah, we don't actually enjoy pointing these things out. We actually wish things were different than they are. But hey, this is the way things are. So we better start out from reality and first understand reality before we can come up with a way out, or an improvement. Let's put it that way.
You must know the truth before you have a shot, a prayer, a chance at making a good choice, a good decision.
Right.
And I think right now, what we've kind of shown is that we don't know the truth. Not really. I mean, we kind of know it anecdotally from the stories that men tell and the fact that they're all the same. But the refusal to go get the data is part of the problem. And it benefits everyone. Benefits the women, benefits the church, benefits the state,
That's because they don't want to ask the questions of the causes. And they want to correlate things and think that's the cause without investigating any further.
Lazy correlation is a rampant problem, even on the more rigorous side of our academic research. I mean, we're pulling up academically researched articles and pointing out that, hey, clearly you guys are missing something here because this data doesn't stack up.
And it doesn't stack up with man's experience.
Yeah.
Even with the data that there is, it's you see who's the focus time after time after time. Who gets bludgeoned over the head with be better, man up, stop watching porn, love your wife more, sacrifice more, this, and this. And there's this again, do women have agency or do they not? Are they capable of sinning? Yes. They
As
have
far as I'm
agency.
aware. As far as I'm aware, women have agency. Again, I just finished Aaron Clary's book, and in one of the towards the end of the book, he's talking about three solutions and a tragedy is what he calls it. But one of the solutions is for these women to sack up, quote unquote, and finally be the equals that they claim they are. Equal responsibility, equal labor, equal. I mean, they could do that and it would solve a lot of, not all, but a lot of the economic problems we have right now. But they're not.
No.
Because they don't want to. Well, guess what? We call that agency. So women, sack up, own your role in this, and the men will do the same. But right now, everyone's just kind of going around, not my circus, not my monkeys. We the church, we are, because we have the moral authority. It's not our problem. Just look at the numbers Nick posted earlier from porn use in the church amongst pastors, 50%.
Right.
Yeah, sure. The church doesn't have a problem. Okay.
So you're saying the pastors have dead bedrooms too. Imagine that.
Wow. Amazing.
Ooh.
I had one. Yeah. I tried to dress in it. Church didn't do shit.
Yeah.
Sacrifice more. Man bad.
Pray more.
You know what? Let me point this out, Nick. You were a dumb shit.
Yeah, it was.
You went in believing, drinking the Kool-Aid, completely blue-pilled.
Oh,
If I pray hard
100%.
enough, if I find a good Christian woman, it's going to be great. And, we'll have a good marriage and we'll have 7 children and I'll get my
White picket
sexual
fence,
needs met and I'm going to be a pastor and I'm going to serve God. And you know what? It's going to be all great.
No.
But no one ever really taught you enough of the nature of women. Yeah, okay, you had a few people advising you, but no, I know better. That it's really not though. If you just love God enough, it's gonna work out. Okay, now I'm making fun of you, but you know what? That's me
true.
too.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's me too.
I
It
own
was
that.
me
And
too. It was me too.
It's the non-Christian man thinking if I do the right thing, it's all gonna work out.
No.
That belief is just everywhere. It's just that's how every young man is raised and taught to believe. And you know what? What does it take to change your mind?
You have to get wrecked.
What's it going to take to change the society's mind? Got to get wrecked. That's the only thing that changes it. I'm just saying.
And this is one of the things that I was trying to bring up when the stream right before the Baskerville solution about the birth rate collapse. And and I think we need to be aware of this. There is a small and shortening window where we can turn this around before we hit terminal. So, believe it or not, speeding up the disaster, speeding up the collapse, whatever you want to call it, is actually in humanity's best interest. We have,
It's like a short and bloody war versus a prolonged, disastrous war.
yeah, get it over quick as possible. Yeah, it's going to suck. I mean, there's a reason we say rip the Band-Aid off. It sucks for a short period of time, and then you can start to actually turn things around. But if you sit there and you peel the Band-Aid back a little bit, oh, pulled a hair, got to stop, wait for that hair pain to go. Okay, pulled another one, got it. Well, you're still going to end up without all your hair, and and it's just going to have taken an age to get there. And in the case of demographics, there is a point where you can put society in a place where it takes 100 years to start digging out of the problem. So again, if the goal is to expand, so like if the goal is to expand the church, if the goal is to expand marriage and expand child rearing, if those are your goals, it is too late to just say, oh, we'll just get married and have more kids. It's too late. The state and the system have taken those options away from you. You can't do that anymore. Marriage is just going to keep collapsing if we keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result. Definition of insanity. Okay. But if we men get out and push, if we get out men and make it happen faster, we can hit that rock bottom where everyone goes, oh shit, we got to do something real. And we will still have enough people alive of childbearing age to turn it around.
So we've corn the problem. Now we're talking about societal collapse. Man, we have gone a long way.
Yeah, we should probably wrap it up.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. How far down does the rabbit hole go?
Yeah, if you listen to us, you have to sign up to listen for a bit. It's true.
So corn is not really the problem, guys. It's all the other crap we talked about today. Well, anybody else have anything to add?
I want to add one thing.
All right.
Twilight moms. These are the women that you are defending, that you are marrying. They're 40-year-old women screaming for 17-year-old men. Don't try to tell me that our problems are just men's faults.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're screaming for a fantasy that just happens to coincide with the 17-year-old.
Yes.
It's the fantasy.
Yep. And right. and if I don't say this, I'm never going to hear the end of it. Over on Elena's channel, she has a survey that she'd like you to fill out about your preferences in women. She's using it to put together some content for you guys, and maybe we'll use it to shame some more whores. But
maybe it gives her something to talk about on her Saturday stream, which we come on, at least Nick and I.
I will actually be
Plutarch.
I will actually be on this weekend. So,
and she wants to get some data to understand how men evaluate and rank or rate women. And it's probably going to be red pill men. So, what are red pill men looking for in a decent woman? So, yeah, I think you should fill out her survey.
All right, guys. Please like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.
Later, y'all.
Later.
What?